Hey guys, this is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange season review of 2023 Tennessee football. Things coming together a little bit. We're getting some things going here. Got a little bit in the background, adding a little bit at a time on this, but everything is a work in progress right now as far as the setting. But hopefully the lights better. Hopefully the sound will be a little bit better today as well. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so far for those of you who viewed the videos, those of you who've subscribed. Um, Took a little break yesterday. I say a break, just took a day to kind of do some things that needed to do. And so I'm back into it today. So I'm coming season review tonight. I'm going to, right after this, I'm going to record a baseball video talking about the perfect All American team that was named today, which included 3 Vols on it. And then tomorrow, definitely go bring a Ole Miss preview for basketball. So, like I said, I'm going all 3 sports. I'm going year round with it. I look forward to it. It's going to be fun. I'm doing it for fun. So let's get into it. So, reviewing the 2023 season. What did Tennessee do good? What went wrong along the way? 9-4 season, and I think a lot of predictions in the preseason were around that. I think 10, 11 wins. I think 10 wins was not a lot to ask, to be honest with you. But when we look back at those games, I don't know what would have changed because those 4 losses there were bad aspects in all 4 of them. 2 of them, I don't think there's any day of the week that they beat those teams. 2 of them, I think there were aspects of them that were winnable. And I'm going to touch upon those in a minute. But what did Josh Heupel do good this year? What did this staff learn from this? What do they move going forward? What's some things I liked? I mean, I do like that we could consider this a step back this year, maybe a down year, and this team went 9-4. I've said it on some of my videos already that I've made that if 9-4 is a down year for this program, we're doing pretty good. There was a point in time we hadn't seen 9 wins. Now I know Butch Jones was a champion of life at 9 wins. And that was as tone deaf of a statement as there ever was because the SEC East was right for the picking on those years, and he pissed them away. He was more worried about cliches and all these things instead of winning championships. We had guys that didn't know what it was like to win championships here. I do like that Josh Heupel says we're here to win championships at Tennessee. So I like that aspect of it. Now, some things I like this year again, the running game. Jalen Wright, 1,000-yard rusher. He had a heck of a year. Off to the NFL. Look forward to seeing what he'll do there, and I can't blame him. It doesn't seem that running backs have the shelf life that they once had in the NFL. And you don't see a lot of those guys anymore, those 20 to 30 carry per game guys. There's a lot more split carries. You saw more split carries in Knoxville this year, even though Wright did get the majority of the carries. Jabari Small was behind him, then Dylan Sampson. And, we can question that all day long, but I look back at some of the stats in games where the carries were comparable. And there were games where Small averaged more, had more yards, averaged more per carry than Sampson. Easy to question that because I do think Sampson's a more dynamic back. And we'll get to see that next year. We saw it in the Citrus Bowl. We'll see it more next year as well. So I liked what they did in the running game this year. It was a very effective running game. There were some games that wasn't as effective, but for the most part, this carried the offense. The defense had their moments. I thought that we saw a step forward with the defensive line this year. There were questions about James Pearson off season. How was he progressing? I think that got answered this year. I think the guy was one of the best defensive linemen, definitely in the SEC. Definitely in the SEC. And according to Pro Football Focus, obviously this is not including the national championship game that's coming up. Pierce graded out the highest of any defensive lineman in any bowl game. It's pretty exciting. He had a mammoth bowl game, and I think a case could have been made that he should have been the MVP of the game. The popular pick's going to be Nico, and I'll get into that moving forward as well. But the linebacking unit, that's got to improve. I got to see better from the linebacking unit. And then our secondary. This secondary, the positive I'll take, Jalen McCullough. Guy come back. He's been questioned before. been questioned back then. The guy had a very solid senior season. I think he definitely helped his draft stock this year as well. I think he's a guy that will. I haven't seen draft projections on him, but I do fully expect you'll see him drafted. I don't know, somewhere at least the later rounds. Corners, I mean, Gabe Judy Lawley, he has declared that he's going to bypass his super senior year and go to the draft. He had his moments. Kamal Haddon was playing his best football since he'd been at Tennessee, and unfortunately, he had the injury that happened. You had a lot of departures, and frankly, I think these guys are replaceable. They put in a lot of work. They put in the effort down there. But I really think that there's guys that I think there's more talent that didn't get an opportunity. That's a question I had this year with this coaching staff is not going to youth. I looked at it on the quarterback, the hot topic. Should Nico have been playing earlier? Would it have made a difference? I look back at that Florida game. As early in the season as that was, I think a case could have been made to give him a shot. I know they had said they didn't plan to redshirt him. He ended up getting a red shirt anyway. Would he have made a difference? They played so bad in that Florida game. I don't know that it would have made a difference. Had he started from the beginning, I'm not sure. What sucked was the Austin Peay game was a prime example to get him playing time, and it was so bad. It ended up 30-13. Should have been much worse. Nico should have been playing most of the second half, and it didn't happen. There's a part of me thinks if I've got a super senior making the mistakes that it make, why making freshmen mistakes? Why would I not put a freshman in to make them? I don't get that, especially a freshman with more talent. Was he not ready? I don't know. I'm not there to watch practice. I have to question that. Would that have made a difference? I don't know, because the Alabama game, the first half was really good. They left points on the table, though, and it come back to bite them in the second half. Could Nico have made a difference? Joe Milton had a pretty good game against Alabama. And I say pretty good. Could he have been better? Yes. Could he have been worse? Absolutely. That offensive line, I think, had their moments this year. It hurt them badly early not having Cooper Mays. Didn't affect them against Virginia. Austin Peay could have maybe made a difference. I think Florida made a difference. That was just bad. That game was bad. I don't know which was worse, Florida or Missouri. I think there were some moments against Missouri that were positive. I don't know what was positive against Florida. And then when they start their comeback, I mean, there was just some bogus calls in that game. Let's face it, the one on Castles where it was a blindside block? That was horse shit. Let's just call it what it was. That's what that was at that point. The receivers, it was not their best. It didn't help that Brew McCoy went down. Toward the end of the year, Dante Thornton starts to kind of make a little bit of plays. He goes out for the year hurt. Squirrel White, I thought, had a pretty good year. You saw some younger guys come on a little bit, but how much of that had to do with Milton as well? Ramel Keaton up and down. I think that was it from the first game was kind of a sign. The Virginia dropped a touchdown. And it was, in the bowl game, had a couple nice catches, had some drops, had one where he didn't run it out and didn't get the touchdown there. This felt like it really kind of felt a little bit like a disappointing season to me. But you look at it, it's still 9-4. Did Tennessee beat anyone they shouldn't have beat? No, I don't think so. I mean, I look back at the schedule. They should have beat Virginia. They should have beat Austin Peay. Frankly, they should have beat Florida. That Florida team was not good. And they went down there and they crapped the bed. Texas, San Antonio. Now, granted, they didn't have their quarterback, Frank Morris. Could that have been a tougher game? I don't know. That was the projection. South Carolina, Super Bowl #1 against South Carolina. They took care of business. Could have been worse. It could have been worse. That was not a good South Carolina team. And frankly, there's no team at this point that I love to see struggle than I do South Carolina. I know it's not a traditional rival. Haven't lived here in South Carolina. Haven't gone to that game last year in Columbia. That was just, and the way we were treated in that, that's a fan base and that's a team they can piss off. All right, just gonna be frank about it. Texas A&M, that was one Tennessee has lost each time since they've come into the conference. It wasn't pretty, but that defensive line dominated that game. They won that game for them. Of course, D. Williams punt return as well. The Bama game, good first half, terrible second half. Super Bowl number 2 against Kentucky, played a pretty good game, even though that was one of the secondary. That was Devin Leary had struggled, and then they threw for over 300 yards. Inexcusable, but they got the win in that. It's a game I felt Tennessee was quite a bit better than Kentucky. It was one I still felt they were in control of, but it was a 6-point game. Kentucky did have a chance late. UConn, they took care of business. Missouri was bad. Missouri, 36-7. I really felt it could have been worse. Same with Georgia, 38-10. I mean, the first play was the highlight. Jalen Wright takes it to the house. That was it. Georgia died after that. And of course, Vandy, that was domination. Then the bowl game was domination well. So I don't think Tennessee won any games that they shouldn't have won, and they definitely won the Florida game that they should not have lost. I mean, coming in, we figured to go to Missouri. Missouri ended up being, obviously, as we know, a really good team this year. I think a case could have been made, including the bowl, just could have been a 10-3 team. But it went 9-4. Could have possibly been worse with that Texas A&M game, depending on how things went there. But, the good thing is, and this is tongue-in-cheek, Tennessee won 2 Super Bowls, according to opposing teams, which was ridiculous. I don't know when South Carolina and Kentucky became Super Bowls for anybody, unless it's South Carolina State maybe playing South Carolina and maybe Western Kentucky or somebody playing Kentucky. But I got news for you, South Carolina and Kentucky. You're not Tennessee's Super Bowls. All right. South Carolina, you were revenge. Kentucky, you were the norm. I'll go back to it again. I keep repeating myself. 9-4. If that's a down year for Tennessee football, we're in pretty good hands going forward. And I'm not sure when. It'll be here in the next couple of days. I'm going to do just a look ahead to 2024. And still movement going on the roster. Just today, Gerald Mincey entered the portal. So does Tennessee try to counter that, bring in another offensive lineman? Are they comfortable with the guys they're bringing in, as they had a good signing class at their offensive line? There's going to be a lot of hype on Rocky Top. I've seen odds for championships. I've seen projections for the SEC. I've looked at that schedule, and I think, I don't know, I may raise some eyebrows with my prediction for next year when I come back with that. Hopefully, it'll come back either tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure which way we'll go with that, but I want to focus a bit on baseball, basketball, work that in as well. But again, guys, for all of you who've tuned in, giving this a chance, I appreciate it. Any constructive feedback is welcome. It's always welcome. I'm not too naive to realize that I can improve on things as well. But getting rid of a little bit of rust. It's been a while since I've done this, so just trying to get back in the groove of things. But at the end here, guys, if you like what I'm doing, if you like the video, send this out, subscribe. I'm going to post this on each of my social medias under Twitter, House of Orange, TN, Facebook, and Instagram as well. And if you see this and you like it, please share it out as well. Send it to any fellow Vol fans, any fellow football fans that may be interested as well. But my name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange season review. You guys have a good evening. Take care and go Vols.